Thank you for listening to the Gift Up podcast. Make sure to hit that like button, share the videos, and subscribe. In this podcast, I want to go through the top 5 defenses in football, starting first with the Chargers. From top to bottom, I think they're the best unit. You got Joey Bosa, top 10 DN in football. You got Melvin Ingram, top 20 DN in football. You got Linval Joseph, who's going to command double teams on the interior to free up Bosa and Ingram. It's one of the best D-lines. At the outside linebacker position, you got Nick Vigil, who can cover. You got Uchenna Nwosu, who can rush the passer. In the interior, they drafted Kenneth Murray, who can do a little bit of everything from the linebacker position. And then they got Denzel Perryman. That's a banger at linebacker, who's a good run stuffer. They don't have a star linebacker, but they got enough players that can do each thing well. You got to love that. One of the better linebacking cores in football. Then looking at the secondary, it's one of the best in football as well. Casey Hayward is an elite top 10 corner. You got Chris Harris Jr., who's still a top 20 corner in this league. And then Derwin James, in my opinion, is the best safety in football. He can do everything from take Travis Kelce out of the game to stopping the run to blitzing the quarterback to playing deep zone coverage. This is the best defense in football when healthy. There's no doubt about it. Buffalo Bills are up next for me. Sean McDermott has a big reason to do with this because he is one of the best defensive minds in football. But then you just look at the things that they do well. They got D-line depth, perhaps the deepest line in football. Mario Addison, Vernon Butler, Jerry Hughes, Trent Murphy, Harrison Phillips. They drafted A.J. Epineza. Last year, they drafted Ed Oliver in the interior, who I think could end up being a legit elite DT in this league. And without question, this is a top 3 depth defensive line in football. At the linebacking core, they have elite play from Tremaine Edmonds. The amount of ground that he covers from the middle linebacker position is immense. A.J. Klein is going to be good in space, and Matt Milano is extremely good against the run in McDermott's scheme. The secondary is also extremely good. They got a top 3 corner in the league in Tre'Davious White. They also have a top 3 pass protection safety group in this league with Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. And I also think that they're going to get the most out of Josh Norman as well with McDermott. And also Levi Wallace at corner, I think, is one of the more underrated outside corners in this league. With that, moving on to the number 3 spot, the Saints. And I just like what they got on the D-line, and I love what they got at all facets, and especially in the secondary as well. Cameron Jordan, elite player at the DN position. Sheldon Rankins, an extremely good athletic DT on the interior. Marcus Davenport, a young and upcoming player that's getting better. Malcolm Brown is going to eat in the middle with Rankins as well. At the linebacking group, you got Kiko Alonso, who's going to be your enforcer. You got Demario Davis, who all around showed that he's got a good game last year. One of the best linebackers in football from what we saw. Zach Bond, I think, is going to impress a lot. I think he's a sleeper coming out in the 3rd round this year for the Saints at the linebacker position. And Alex Anzalone has shown that he can be capable. He's a really good role player. Is he dominant? Absolutely not. But when you pair him with Alonzo, Demario Davis, Zach Bond, I can deal with it. He's a good role player. The secondary is pretty good too. Janoris Jenkins, I love that addition. He's a legit outside corner. Marshawn Lattimore is one of the top 3 corners in this league. And it really goes Jalen Ramsey, Lattimore, and Tre'Davious White for me. Really no question about it. Malcolm Jenkins is one of the best safeties in this league. And then they got DJ Swearinger, who can lay a lick on people too. That's why I really like the addition of Kiko Alonso and Swearinger. Sometimes you got to just sign players to lay a lick on somebody. They might not be every down players, but they're going to be out there and they're going to be laying wood. Next up, got the Ravens next. And they made some really good offseason acquisitions to really shore up this defense. Derek Wolfe, really good as far as being physical, stopping the run. Calais Campbell is going to seal the edge and really be a dominant player for them. I'm not saying in a sense of racking up the sacks, but in a sense of sealing the edge and being a big body and making it harder for teams to run on them. It's going to pay dividends. You got to like Brandon Williams on the interior too. He's been getting it done for a while for the Ravens, really physical. At the linebacking group, the Patrick Queen move in the draft, I think went a little bit under the radar, but that's one of my favorite picks this year. All he has to really do coming out of college is add a few pounds of muscle, and he's going to be like a safety in a linebacker's body. I like the pick of Malik Harrison too. I really feel like they needed to shore their linebacking group up after the loss of Mosley a year ago, and this makes me feel more comfortable. And I really like the secondary as well. Talent-wise, this is one of the better units in football. That's why I had to put him in the top 5. Marcus Peters, he really just found his home here with the Rams, and then with the Chiefs before. He was just out of place, but I really feel like he found his home here. He feels comfortable. He looks like a legit outside corner in this system. I really like Marlon Humphrey on the outside, paired with Peters. And then what's not to like about Earl Thomas? Top 3 safety, top 5 safety in this league, however you want to put it. I'm going on record saying Derwin James is the best, so that's a discussion for this podcast here to bring that up. But again, this is a unit that top to bottom is talent stock. At 5, I got the Broncos. And Vic Fangio, of course, has a lot to do with this, being as good of a coach as he is. And I think about McDermott for the Bills, and I think about Fangio as one of the better defensive minds in football. First of all, this front 7 is ridiculous. It really is. The addition of Jurrell Casey is one of the more underrated moves. Find it funny that a lot of people aren't talking about it, but you pair that with Shelby Harris on the D-line position, and then you have Von Miller and Bradley Chubb rushing from the outside. That is lethal. That is ridiculously good. And then this secondary, I really like what they did. I mean, A.J. Boye coming in, being a legit number 1 corner for Fangio. Absolutely love that. They got Kareem Jackson at strong safety, which I like. Bryce Callahan at the other cornerback position. Fangio is going to make this work. The Broncos are going to be a dominant unit this year. The only thing holding the Broncos back is going to be Drew Lock. If he's even average, this team's going to go far. And then I wanted just to mention the Steelers too, because I really respect what they did last year with the 3rd-string quarterback. So I wanted to mention them as my 6th. And just looking what they got, TJ Watt scares me. See, when you got Cameron Hayward, Stephon Tuitt, and then you pair TJ Watt up there, any offense is going to be petrified on Sunday, because TJ Watt can legit take over games, ruin your quarterback's afternoon. Then they got Devin Bush, an up-and-coming linebacker last year who made a lot of strides. I expect him to be one of the best linebackers in football this year. And then this secondary has been really good too. They acquired Minkah Fitzpatrick last year. Terrell Edmonds keeps getting better and better. And then I really like Joe Hayden still, even at his old age. And, of course, Mike Tomlin has a lot to do with this too, keeping all of this in check, making this work. But, again, for that defense to do what they did last year without any help from the offense, you got to like it. With that, make sure to hit the like button, share the videos, and subscribe.